Hey, what's up, everyone? This is BF Warmer or BW Roses or BW179 or 1979, as you know me. And I guess I want to kind of talk about a situation that I've been talking about over the past couple of days. Recently, I talked about the romances in the comic books and why those moved the comic book along. And before that, I talked about the love life and everything, and I talked about the future. But now I want to talk about something that's always being argued about. Recently, some friends here on YouTube, the Real RNEO is one of them, and a few others like Maiko and Arsenal Cruz, and maybe Quante Blue 64, or have all been talking about certain things, like pairings, right? Like Sonic the Hedgehog pairings, love pairings. And the one that I want to talk about is the one that's always being talked about the most and argued about the most. And that is the relationship of Sonic and Sally, or Son Alley, or whatever you want to call it, of Sonic the Hedgehog and Princess Sally Acorn. The reason I want to talk about this is because a lot of people in the past, I don't know how many years, ever since 134 and even before that, there's been a lot of people, a majority of people, that have been upset with the fact that Sonic and Sally were broken up. Now, there's also a majority of people that are happy they're broken up. And there's also a majority of people that just like to see them get together and break up for the drama. Well, let me explain something to everybody. You see, the reason Sonic and Sally are put together, at any time, or brought back together. Let's say like they were brought back together in 123, which lasted to 134. And with the possibility of them being back together starting with 187. Let me explain why they're together. First of all, the reason they're together is because they are the original romance couple of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. They were before Amy Rose came around and started crushing on Sonic. They're before Mina. They're before Fiona and Sonic. Heck, they're even before Bunny and Antoine. They're even before Knuckles and Julie Sue. They're even before Knuckles and Rouge. And any other pairing you can think of. They're even before Tails and Cosmo. You see, the truth is, the reason they get put together is not just because of all that. It's because their story of being together, along with all the action and adventure, and I mentioned this before in the romance scenario, their pairing, along with all the action, adventure, and the main story plot itself, helps move the story along, helps make the comic book what it is today. I mean, you honestly think someone's going to open up an issue and read it and not see Sally in there in some kind of capacity or talking with Sonic? You think they're going to read it? I mean, let me ask you this. Why do you think some people always say, oh, this issue wasn't as good as I thought it was? Why do you think they say that? They say it because it doesn't have Sally in it. It doesn't have Sally communicating with Sonic. And I can tell you this. When was there one time when Sonic and Sally were together as a couple? When was there one time in the comic book that somebody said a bad thing, saying it wasn't the best issue they read, or wasn't the best miniseries they read? When did that happen? Never. Barely never. You know why? Because it was that relationship, along with the action and adventure, that helped move that issue, helped move that story arc along. And I think a lot of people know that. Now, I know, like I said, there's a lot of people that don't like to see Sonic and Sally together. As a matter of fact, according to my friend, Real RNEO, Sonic and Sally being together, it's going to be getting together possibly, it's going to make a lot of people upset that are against it. Why? Because these people that are upset about it are afraid. They're afraid of the fact that Ian Flynn is going to do the same thing Ken Penders and Carl Bowles did back a few years ago. And that's put them together and then find a way to break them up. Just as I mentioned before, put them together, find them, break them up. That's what they're afraid of. And I mentioned this one time before. I don't know when I mentioned this, if it was in a video review, if this was in an audio rant, I'm not sure. But I mentioned that what these fans probably want, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong because I'm not these fans. I'm not the ones throwing out the hate mail or drinking the haterade and throwing it and spitting it in the faces of the writers or the couplings that they put together. But I believe in my heart, that these fans, they wouldn't mind Sonic and Sally being together as a couple as long as it was done right and not done the way writers like Ken Penders and Carl Bowles have done in the past. If it's done right, then they won't mind it. But if it's done in the tradition that Carl Bowles and Ken Penders have, then that's where the haterade comes from. That's how that haterade and that hate gets spit at and thrown at. Because of things like that. It's all because these fans that hate this couple, hate this pairing, and it's because of this. It's basically because of writers like that people hate this pairing. They hate them because of these people, because of the way the romance, the relationship is wrote. They want it, like I said, they want it in a way that fans can relate to. And if you can't relate to it, how the hell are you going to watch it? Or read about it? How are you going to enjoy it if you can't relate to it? If you can't enjoy it? I mean, let's go back to Sat Am, shall we? The writers like Ben Hurst, Pat Lee, and Len Jensen, when they wrote that animated show, when they wrote that series, and they had Sonic and Sally together as a pair, they did it in a way to where Sonic and Sally complemented each other, and people enjoyed it. They enjoyed it even to the point at the end when Sonic and Sally gave each other that passionate kiss at the end of Doomsday. People still enjoyed it. And for a while, writers like Ken Penders and people before him and after him, besides Carl Bowles, they complemented that same style. For a while, they complemented that same style to where Sonic and Sally were a couple, and they kind of complemented each other as well. They kind of had, but basically what you saw in Sat Am was portrayed in the comic book for a while. But then all of a sudden, all this other stuff, all this other crap started to take place, and a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people didn't like the fact that Sonic and Sally were becoming so different from the counterparts of Sat Am. That's why a lot of people, like I said, are hating on people like Ken Penders, Carl Bowles, and have doubts, basically, as we speak, of Ian Flynn putting them together. Even if it's hinting at it in this month's issue, they're upset about it. They don't want to see it because they're afraid it's going to take that same road path that Ken Penders and Carl Bowles set it on in the past. And they don't want that. They don't want that. They don't want it at all because of one reason. They're afraid it's not going to be done right. Well, you know what? I've said this before about Ian Flynn. Sure, he has his own style. Sure, he's killed off a few characters. I mean, heck, if you look at the Sonic Community Mobius forum on the Knothole Village, there's people that have pictures, and I'm not just talking the Knothole Village, I'm talking the Sat Am Sonic forum too. There are people that had pictures with their own captions on there, or little fan art pictures they have of Ian Flynn with a gun in front of all these gravestones saying, "Who's next?" And this was after he killed off Locke. There's somebody, I don't know who it was, had a picture with him holding a machine gun saying, "Who's next?" Standing to the left side or right side of a lot of gravestones. And just recently you have a preview for 189, and someone self-captured that and said, and had the character saying, "This way to Ian's house. I'm going to get Ian. I'm going to kill Ian. I'm going to hurt him for doing this. I'm going to hurt him for doing that." A lot of people, this is all because fans don't know what Ian is capable of. They don't know if he's going to do this right. They don't know if he's going to put these two together the right way, the way it's supposed to be done. The way it was done, that kind of complemented the way it was done in Sat Am. They're not sure. They're not sure. Now, I made Ken Penders and Carl Bowles, they did. Ken Penders, you got to agree, did a decent job with them. But Carl Bowles, when he came in, he messed it all up. So you know what I say? Carl Bowles, he can kiss our ass for what he did, okay? He can kiss our ass. Ken Penders, he was okay for a while. He's alright. Until he started to have his ups and downs. But Ian Flynn, yeah, he's had his ups and downs as well so far. He's done his own thing. Some people have liked it, some people haven't. But what I say about Ian when it comes to the Sonic Sally relationship, I say give him a chance. Ian can come out and say, "Oh, it's going to be a long, difficult task to put them together." A guy like Ian will say that shit just to throw people off so he could catch them by surprise. Believe me, even though I've been a subscriber of the comic since issue 72, I've been reading it since the beginning. And I know that Ian, who says he's a fan himself, even before he came on board as a writer, I know Ian Ian is just saying those kind of things to throw us off. So don't. So whenever he tells you guys this on his forums or wherever, don't take him too seriously, because he's just trying to throw you off. I mean, why all of a sudden do you see in the cast listing for this issue's for 187 this month, you see Sonic and Sally in one little area together, and it says ex-couple. If that doesn't give you any clue they might be getting together, I don't know what the hell does. But that's all I could say for now about the Sonic-Sally relationship and the fact that Ian Flynn is working on it this time. If you got any other questions, comments, just let me know. But until next time, this is BF Warmer, BW1979, and BW Roses, signing off.